Insert intro here. Okay, now that's done. I am here because I did a thing that I'm kind of proud of. I went to the most recent remote regional. I think it was the last one of the season before this, the North American World Championship qualifiers, and I managed to get 10th place with a deck that I have been enjoying so immensely. Um, which is Mikanko. Last video I posted here was about my YCS experience with this deck, and I'm not gonna lie, I've not played since then. At least not any like actual duels. But I knew that this is the thing that I wanted to bring. There have been some changes to the deck. I want to say it's kind of small, maybe big. I guess it depends on the way that you look at it. Before I do that, I just want to quickly say this whole remote regional experience. It was so incredibly fun. I met a lot of really cool people during it, and had a lot of really fun games. And I think the craziest thing is last round I played table three. It was the Mikanko mirror match. Um, which I mean, in one way of saying it, it's like, is it really a fun mirror match? Not really, because your monsters have zero attack. But at the same time, I could not help but have fun because it was just so crazy to see somebody else doing so well with a deck that they were like just as passionate about. Um, and I had a really good time. We ended up drawing, but we both topped, I think, because of that. And it was really cool. Shout out to my final opponent, by the way. He made top seven. I made top 10. It was Jose Benuelos Jr. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I certainly hope so. So just, congratulations on getting top seven. It's awesome to see somebody do that. Without further ado, I'll get into this for realsies. First thing, main deck. It's somewhat standard, I guess. So first things first, 3 Hime. Got the Jesse Cotton sign one. I'm going to show that off because it's now my prized possession. Uh, great thing. It searches everything in the deck. And you know what? I don't know if I'm really going to explain a lot of this stuff. If you want more in-depth info on it, I have my previous video that I put out. If not, I'll just super quick overview. Basically, deck searcher, great. On field, it equips from grave, non-targeting. I learned that, and it was actually like the thing that I think in the mirror match, it won me game one. Of course, it was the thing that lost me game two in the mirror match because he used it on me. But, c'est la vie. After that, we have 3 Huli, 3 Hare, 1 Nini. This is kind of the biggest change with the deck. So this used to be at 2. I bumped it up to 3. This used to be at 1, and I also bumped it up to 3. And I guess my thought behind that was, Gamma protected a lot of things for consistency in this deck, so you didn't really need to draw a whole lot or have a whole lot of these in your main deck because you could very easily get it out without your opponent stopping you. That being the case now, I just figured consistency overall. And, it's good, right? I didn't bump up this because I think it's fine at 1. Nini, she's a snatch deal for the turn during your opponent's turn. Search equips, search trap, makes everything untargetable. So good. After that, we have the other thing that I bumped up to 3, mostly because I finally bought a third copy. The main reason I was running 2 is because there was no third copy at the store when I got it, and I was like, I don't want to go online for that. So yeah, there's this, which is great. I'm so glad to have it at 3 because it definitely helps with the consistency as well. Otherwise, I got 2 Maiwashidori, 2 Fire Dance because this is very similar to what I was running before. I've heard people say that they bricked with having this in hand like more than one of these in hand at a time. I guess I can understand that, but I really didn't brick with it. And I think the thing that like made it not a brick was by adding all these numbers, so it became, I think, better that way. After that, we've got the Rondo, which is, I mean, after the YCS, I'm like, screw it. I'm getting the collector's rare. So this is my only collector's rare. Um, and I gotta say, super good, super good. It's just in archetype snatch steal, and that's always going to be a good thing. Other than that, we've got two of the Great Ceremony to summon out and Foolish. Really good, really good. Actually, I enjoy this card immensely, and it's because of that I don't really run the Ritual spell. I've seen some people running it for several reasons, and honestly, I part of me wants to put in the Ritual spell at least in the side deck now because of the mirror match. Because it's non-targeting destruction, and and it deals damage, which is kind of a big thing, I think, at least right now. The only problem is like it sucks when you draw into it and no ritual monster, and it's just kind of a dead card. So that's the only reason why I haven't. Last for this engine in particular is Mikanko Rivalry. This is just the best trap in the deck, and it's also the best artwork in the game. Like, it just is. Don't argue with me on that point. I used to also have Promise in the deck, but when I really thought about it, I think that having two traps in a deck that tends to go second a lot um, isn't great, especially when your main your hand trap lineup has changed so much, at least as it has for me. So like the idea of drawing two cards that you'd rather have in the deck is something that I wasn't a huge fan of. So I just cut it down to this, and honestly, I haven't turned back. Um, I guess last things like somewhat generic stuff. Searcher for Ohime to get to that, and then I think that's it for the Mikanko stuff. Let's see. After that, we just have non-engine stuff. 3 prosperity for consistency. Honestly, you could do Extrav. Like, I was talking to somebody that I met during the regional. And he was like, "Oh, I'm interested in the deck. I can't get prosperities though. I don't have those." Honestly, and I throw this out to pretty much anybody who's interested in this deck. Extravagance is perfectly fine. I think one of the top fours from last weekend was a Mikanko deck, and they were running Extrav, and they got top 4. That's pretty friggin' good. So this is just my personal preference. I have it, so that's why I run it. If you don't have it and you want to go cheaper, Extrav is good. In some cases, it might even be better. So yeah, I'm just throwing that out there. After that, we have 2 triple tack as another consistency thing, especially if you don't have this, but also you can just steal things, make Zeus. It's good. Um, and then I guess one last interesting tech choice, Axe of Fools. This does something for the deck that I realized was a problem when I took it to the YCS, which is what happens if your opponent banishes your Rondo and you have a rivalry set. Then you lose like pretty much your one target to interact with your opponent, um, and you can only use it for stuff that you want to equip to your Mikanko stuff, which isn't bad. But like if you're going up against a deck where you really need to interact with your opponent, or else they'll just stop you, this is very very good. Um, so that's kind of why I played it. It basically just negates effects, but it also makes your opponent's monster gain 1,000 attack. Plus, during your standby phase, it burns them for 500, so it kind of fills that similar time niche that Lava Golem could fulfill. So adding this, I don't think I can take it out. It's also just great going second because it forces your opponent to interact just by equipping it. Um, so yeah, big fan of this. Don't think I'll change that. Um, After that, we've got two Lightning Storm because back row sucks. You don't like it. In a similar vein, we have one Pankratops. I use this in my Philly deck list. It didn't come up too much during Philly, but when it did, it was great. During this, it came up several times, and oh my goodness, it is just so good. This is just a great card. I'm a big fan of it because not only is it great back row removal, it's a 2-for-1, whereas a cosmic would be a 1-for-1 and burn you. But it also it gets rid of monsters. So like, oh, let's say your opponent Arise Hearts you, and you're like, they throw out a Lance as well, and it's like, dang, this is tricky. Just summon this out, and bam, it's gone. You're good. You don't even have to worry about it. So yeah, big fan of that. Other last monster, actually not last monster, but like I guess Ash. Good card, very generic, very good. Does it stop turns? Not really. Um, you know, Part of me wonders if like a different hand trap would be better in this case, but I think it did pretty well. So I'll probably keep her in. And then the last cards of the deck, we've got the Kaijus. Sadly, our boy Lava Golem is gone from this deck, at least. He's still playable. You can get away with using him. However, I like this package at the moment much better, mostly because you can keep your normal summon, which I didn't need it in last deck profile, mostly because it was just I could so consistently get things on the field regardless. But my thought process for this was if you go up against something like a Vanquish Soul, you just do one kaiju, or if you go up against Sky Striker, one kaiju, and you're good. You basically shut off their boards. And then this is just good. It forces negations. It forces things like Ash Blossom, so it protects you. And so, like, overall, this just very good. And that's it for the main deck. After that, we will have the side deck, which is all kind of out of order, so I'll try and go slow about this. So, first, Almirage, best card in the extra deck. Got 2 Charmers, we got 2 Nightmares, and then we have an IP, and an Abramax. And that's it for the... Oh, one last card. Lingaribo. These are the links that I chose to run in the deck for several reasons, but the main, I guess, thought behind it was it's just a nice toolbox to get into. The Nightmares are always great. These can steal different things. Say if they ash you, you can um, make this go and summon out that or something else and get into your Abramax, or just threaten with these, right? That's kind of the thought with that. And then this can also steal Barons, which is another thing that I think is very fun to do. Neither of them came up once. Honestly, none of these came up once, right? Almirage, he's the GOAT. He's pretty much this. It could be whatever. It doesn't even matter. Other cards for the extra deck. We have 3 Super Poly targets, because that is a card that was in my side deck. In theory, this is great. In practice, it didn't do a lot for me. My thought behind this was like Branded is just my personal worst matchup when it comes to this deck. And because of that, I wanted something that could deal with that as well. However, during the YCS, I found out that Super Brawl is actually really good against Sprite. like insanely good, because usually they'll either have a red and a carrot on the field for the negation purposes, or they'll have the Melfi package, which in both case means this. Like these don't matter at all. This though, too good. Um, so like I'd say pretty good. I didn't make either of these. I did make this. So once again, here we are. All this could be something else. These are the only two cards I use in the extra deck. Last thing we have Break Sword, Sheridan, two Zeus. I'll put these like closer. There we go. Um, I used this during the YCS. Didn't use it during the regional, and it's just stuff that you can go into. This is very easy to get into, and it's also a targeted send to the grave, so it's a form of removal as well. Plus, if you steal an opponent's monster, you don't have to give it back if you overlay for it. So that was my thinking with that. And Break Sword, it does damage if your opponent decides to not play any monsters. However, it also can be used to remove itself and other cards from the field. If you need to do that, it gets rid of stuff. It stops your monsters from getting banished off of like Maya Washidori if you summon them out that way. Because once they're overlaid, they forget that they need to be banished. So that was the thought behind that, and it also gets you into Zeus. Thing is, like, didn't use this. I think I went into Zeus once or twice. Actually, yeah, I think I used one of these Zeus. So basically, this was the extra deck. Everything else didn't matter. Um, and when I played against my mirror match opponent in the final round, I looked at his extra deck completely different. Like, these were the only cards we had in common, which I just think is crazy because it's just one of those things where a deck can be so similar, and yet when it comes down to like the toolbox aspect of it, they're just so different because of they can the extra deck obviously doesn't matter too much, but because of the way that the deck works, you can use it to do all kinds of different shenanigans if you feel like it. Um, so pretty much like that's kind of how it was for me. I figured toolbox shenanigans, I'll use what I want, and whatever I don't need, it's just like a prosperity target. So this was the extra deck. Everything else didn't matter. After that, we've got the side deck. Got the live Bochi reaction. 3D shifter, because, Droll's good, but this is better. And you can play around it. Don't tell anybody I said that. 3 Super Poly. Once again, very good against Sprite. Not great against Branded, which is kind of sad. Usually that's like the go-to Branded removal. Other than that, we've got 3 Cosmic and 3 evenly for the back row matchups. This is pretty much the only thing I cited that mattered, I think. Actually, no, these two. I cited it and they mattered. Plus, actually, no, this as well. 3 Imperm. I can't make a deck without it. It's just so good and so generic. I'd say there needs to be some changes to this, so I'll probably have to figure that out. But as of the regional that I went to, I think it was pretty good. It helped me stop some stuff that really mattered, and I'm pretty happy with it. At least like this side of it. So we'll see. Things can change. Things will change. But that's it. I just wanted to show off a little bit, I guess. But also, this is the first time I have ever qualified for a regional, and I did it with a deck that I really like immensely enjoy, which is that. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully this was interesting enough. And once again, I just want to shout out all the people who came to the regional. There were some incredibly nice, incredibly fun people that I met. Um, Shout out to Jose. Congratulations on getting top seven. Proud to see another Mikanko brother getting in. So yeah. That being said, have a nice rest of your day, and God bless.